The Marlins have not won a World Series in 20 years, and while you may think it's not that bad compared to another team, it's a lot worse than what it seems like. They've had 2 ownerships, and they fired 5 managers since winning that World Series. They even brought in Derek Jeter for 4 seasons to lead the front office, until he resigned because of how bad that the owner was. They've been a failure, as they've only made the playoffs twice since 2003, but it hasn't all been terrible. Let's go back to the JT Realmuto trade from 2019. The Marlins seem to be in a rebuild, and that's why they moved on from JT. In return for the star catcher, Miami would get back prospect Signup Sanchez. He was the 27th ranked prospect in the league. At only 20 years old, he was electric, and he would eventually make his debut in 2020. At the minor league level, he had an ERA of 2.57. So when he was called up, Marlins fans hoped to have a star in their hands. And in his 7 starts, Sanchez was a beast with a 3.46 ERA at only 22 years old. In Game 2 of the wildcard round, he pitched 5 innings, giving up 0 earned runs and leading them to victory. Although they were eliminated in the very next round, they had a lot to be excited about. Signup Sanchez was the real deal, but they had other arms to work with as well, such as Sandy Alcantara, who was great, and even Pablo Lopez. Derek Jeter's plan of building their pitching staff was coming to fruition, but just as quickly as it was being built, it was altered. Before the 2021 regular season, Signup Sanchez went down with a shoulder tear, so the rotation was already short 1 man. And in July of the 2021 season, it became public that Signup had to get shoulder surgery. And by the trade deadline 3 weeks later, the Marlins appeared to be punting away the season, as they went ahead and traded star outfielder Starling Marte. He was going to the winning Oakland Athletics, and somehow, someway, the Marlins fleeced them, and they managed to go and get Jesus Luzardo. While their season was a dumpster fire, the pitching potential was insane. But offensively, they lacked star power badly. And front officeman Derek Jeter wanted to go and spend money to land star players going into 2022. They finished the rebuild internally, but it was now time to spend on the lineup. But unfortunately for Jeter, his vision would never happen because owner Bruce Sherman did not want to spend money. Jeter said, okay, I understand, so I'm just going to be leaving. I will not be around for this vision. The Marlins proceeded to spend very little money, keeping around the same roster. The offense was ranked bottom 3 in runs scored, resulting in the team losing 93 games. But on the pitching side, they were great. Sandy Alcantara won the NL Cy Young with a 2.28 ERA and 32 starts. But Alcantara needed other pitchers around him that were helping this rotation win, and that's exactly what Pablo Lopez was for Alcantara. Other pitchers like Edward Cabrera were also important pieces to the rotation. Speaking of on the top, let's talk about our sponsor, Rival Fantasy. If you like playing fantasy baseball, this app is for you. I put down $3 into a best ball league, and I will win free money if I place in the top 3. How it works is I will draft 1 time a week, and my highest scores for the week are automatically my starters. So if you're a busy person, Rivals Best Ball is the best experience for you. You can join a random league, you can start your own. Using the link in the description will get you a free $25 to play with on Rival. So come on, sign up now and enjoy the rest of the video. Meanwhile, Signup Sanchez had a much different story. He came back late in 2022 into a minor league rehab start, but during his rehab appearance, he somehow re-injured his shoulder and needed shoulder surgery once again. It became obvious that his luck was super bad, or at least something like that. The offseason came around, and the Marlins decided to do something big. They had plenty of arms, but they had no offense. Their way of filling in that hole was by trading away Pablo Lopez for the contact merchant Luis Arias. Luis would go on to hit for a .316 average in 2022. Luckily for Arias, things were about to get a lot easier for him, as the defensive formation known as the shift was about to be abolished. This was huge, and we saw insane productivity for him in 2023. earning himself an astonishing .354 batting average and 574 at-bats. Unfortunately for Miami, this on-base machine was not going to do enough for them to make a good offense. The rotation was not a problem at all, but the bullpen surely was, as they were ranked number 21 in the league for bullpen ERA. And to make matters even worse for the rotation, Cy Young winner Sandy Alcantara was not having a good season at all. He looked like a different arm, and he was just not himself. And eventually, he was even placed on the injured list and had to get Tommy John in October. But this was not even the worst part about it. Offensively, they were still a bottom 5 team. They made the playoffs, but they only managed to put up 2 runs in 2 games. Clearly something was not working in their offensive vision, so they decided that they were going to be hiring someone above their GM. Her name was Kim, and Kim did not like the idea of hiring someone above her, so she resigned from the team as soon as they said that they were going to be hiring someone else. The Marlins later hired Rays expert front officeman Peter Bendix. He was walking into a unique situation in 2024, and they only spent $4 million in this offseason. Many fans would call this a tragedy that they made the playoffs and the ownership just gives up. It also doesn't help that their DH, who hit 36 home runs, Jorge Soler, was not going to be re-signed and was not going to be replaced. Their only addition, the $4 million addition, was washed-up shortstop Tim Anderson. Ultimately, it sounded like that they were going to be rolling it back with almost the same exact roster. Except, not exactly. First of all, Sandy Alcantara would miss all of 2024, and he would not pitch a single time. Secondly, the Marlins spring training has gone absolutely horrendous. Where do I even start? Well, I guess you guys are wondering, where in the hell did Sixto Sanchez go in this story? And I have an answer for you.
Yeah, I'd like 6,000 chicken fajitas, please.
I beg your pardon?
6,000 chicken fajitas.
And a sausage McBiscuit, please.
Okay, yes, pictures started to come out of Sixto Sanchez, looking very clearly overweight. We're unsure of what to expect from Sixto in 2024, but until I see him back in the regular season, I'm going to be holding my breath. On a more positive note, he was pitching 97 miles an hour and has given up 0 runs in 4 innings in spring training. If he could just stay healthy and be solid in the bullpen in 2024, Sixto Sanchez could be effective once again. Right now, things are not going super well in the rotation. They were expecting to have a great rotation, one of the better ones in the entire league. But guess what happened? Unfortunately, injuries happened. Braxton Garrett, he had a .358 ERA in 2022 and a .366 ERA in 2023. With no Alcantara this year, Garrett was going to be someone that the Marlins heavily relied on. But already this season, it is almost confirmed that he will be missing opening day with a shoulder injury. Also, do you remember the once highly talked about prospect Edward Cabrera? And it appears that he is already going to be starting the season on the injured list. He has not been able to stay healthy ever since he came up in 2021, and it appears that opening day is going to be a long shot for him, as he has already gotten injured. Lastly, how about the young arm Yuri Perez? He came up last season, and he absolutely dominated, putting together 19 starts and a .315 ERA. But you can mark him as another Marlins pitching injury, as he is currently experiencing elbow soreness. While we are unsure of the extent of this injury, elbow soreness is never good for any young pitcher. In fact, it's actually become quite the epidemic in this 2024 spring training. So the rotation is currently down to Jesus Luzardo, Trevor Rogers, and not much else. Reliever Ryan Weathers, I guess, is expected to be in the rotation. He had a .655 ERA in 57 innings last year, and it's also expected that reliever AJ Puck will be joining the rotation for the beginning of the season. Meanwhile, the division is as tough as ever, with the Braves looking primed to win it, and Philadelphia only looking improved. And then you have the Marlins. They lost pieces, they added nothing, and are currently facing big injury after big injury. So I, Purely Baseball, am declaring that the Marlins are officially cursed in 2024.